Hello everyone. We have a game with the white pieces against blue Steglau, rated 1917. I might have to end this speed run at 1900. I don't really know how much higher I want to go. Okay, so he plays the Philidor setup against us. That's fine. We're just going to play d6, create our pawn chain, open up our bishop. He makes this weird a6 move. Not sure what that's about. So I'm going to ignore him and go f4, attack the center. He immediately takes, so now we're going to recapture with development. He strikes out at our bishop, so we should move it and not get it captured by the knight if possible. Now he develops his bishop with tempo against the queen. That's fair. I'm going to move my queen. I'm not going to develop my knight. I'm going to move my queen up one, coordinating with the dark square bishop, emptying the diagonal. Maybe I'll kick the bishop, and he can't trade for a knight. So he develops his bishop and prepares castling. Let's put the question to the bishop and also gain control of the square from his minor pieces for free. If he wants to go back, we'll kick it again and put it in his bad spot. Okay, so he's on this diagonal, which is not as good as the other one, I don't think. I could go here. I don't think sacks are good. So let's do it. He goes back. We now have the opportunity to kick his knight. It would release control of the center, but he can always play this. So in that case, I would like to maybe long castle or maybe develop my knight. Let's go with knight development, see what he does, and not commit our king just yet. Because he does have some advanced pawns here. Maybe I want a short castle. Okay, so he castles. But this pawn is pinned, so this bishop is looking funky. I'm going to long castle, finish my development, connect my rooks, start attacking his king. So here, we can still hit the bishop, and it's trapped, right? I think so. So let's ignore what he's doing, which is just developing pieces, and let's go h4, h5, starting our pawn storm on the king side. We are hanging this pawn, but on purpose. Not only does it open the g file for us, which is nice for our rooks, but it also is kind of a trick because h5 might trap his bishop. Okay, so he sees it, he creates space for his bishop. So let's continue forward, kick it back. And now can we continue with g5? Takes. Opening more lines, getting more stuff in, and continuing our attack. Let's go for it. I'm not giving him time to attack my stuff yet because I'm trying to maintain the initiative. I do have to watch out for this dark square alignment. You know, king b1 is always a useful move, but considering I have a bishop on that diagonal, you know, he can't get behind it or do anything weird. So for the time being, I want to keep the initiative and press. I don't think he wants me to take, like he definitely doesn't want to recapture and stick his king here, right? That looks awfully dangerous. Let's see what he does. He retreats the knight. Was not expecting that. Glad to see it. Releases control over the center. Gives me more options to jump my pieces in. This is not hanging. I still think I should take this and open everything up and put a rook here. I didn't calculate or really consider other things. Maybe I should have. There's this. He just moves his rook though. Okay, so now he brings it back. And is he going to use my pawn as a shield? But that looks kind of terrible too though. Okay, so this knight here, does it threaten anything? It can go here, but that doesn't do anything. I do want to take this, but I may not want to take it with the pawn. So like, This threatens checkmate, you know what I mean? It pins the pawn so he can't take. He can push, but this is pinned, so he can't, because takes, but maybe he won't see it. I take the pawn, he takes, and then I take the bishop with checkmate. That's a line. Queen here. How else does he defend the pawn? This sacks the knight, which is good for us. How else does he defend the pawn? He can go backwards. But then he loses the rook, at the very least, because it's trapped. So let's continue the attack, not with the rook, which is also another move you could possibly make, but the queen, because it's stronger and comes with checkmating patterns. It also, in a weird way, aligns here. Not that that necessarily matters, but... So he does do this, but this hangs stuff, because now we have two pawns here. And he probably thinks he can take, but this is puzzle rush. Now he might realize, oh shoot, it's pinned. If he saw that, he wouldn't have done this because the bishop's trapped, right? Plus this comes with checkmate. So yeah, he totally missed that this was pinned until right now, which I expected. He is 1917, but it's a common oversight, especially when the bishop is so far away. If it was on a2, it's even further away, and he might just have taken here, totally missing it. The closer it is to the e7 pawn, the more likely there's to realize it psychologically. So this guy fell for it, and now this has rook support. There's tons of threats. Black is just toast in 20 moves with the bishop's opening. So he does go back, but this comes with checkmating threats. You don't take the bishop. Although wait, that's also, I mean, that's interesting, but if we take this way, his king has to go here. And then we can take the knight getting a queen. If he takes that queen, there's checkmate. There's so many cool wins. What else? We also could push forward, win the rook and queen with check. So that looks super strong. He can't sack because checkmate. So they're all so strong. And then we even have the bishop one. If he goes over, that's checkmate. So the bishop one forces rook takes. Then we get in check. But then the knight's still there. So push or take, they're both completely winning, and there's definitely more winning moves, but these are the two I want to make. This one's kind of cool. Let's just say he develops. I mean, that there's no reason to get fancy. Just take with check and then get a queen. Because it's double check, he can't take the pawn. He has to go here. The knight's the only thing defending against checkmate, right? So we take it with a queen. Can he really ignore the queen? You know, can he make a defensive move and not take the queen? Then we're just up a queen, right? And so this checkmate is here, but I also got a queen. So he's like, oh, whichever one you address, the other one is just as deadly, and you lose. So by move 20, we got a second queen. Let's do this. Against Blue Stegall. And if you look at our position, this pawn chain is perfect. It's perfect harmony, everything you see. The rook behind the pawn, and so he moves the knight, hitting the queen. This doesn't make any sense because it has nothing to do with our checkmate in one threat, right? And so I think that's the first checkmate we've had in a middle game with two queens. Yeah, in any of our speedrun episodes, you know, in the past like 400 videos, this is the first game like this. And we just have a random queen on e8 that can be taken 3 times. It's hit 4 times. It's a wild position. And you can see this pawn, how integral this pawn is towards the attack. Awesome. So let's go over the game. We get the bishop's opening, and he does not copy us, so that's a good start for him. But he also puts the bishop in the pawn chain, so I'm not worried about anything just yet. I develop towards the center, and then center and development. And then we play f4. f4 attacks the center and helps development. takes, forced move, and development. He attacks our bishop, so forced move, right? We have to move it to a safe solid square. They say this is an inaccuracy, but it looks like a very human move, right? Free tempo. But we just get out of the way and dodge it. King safety, it prepares the possibility of castling long, and it doesn't give him the option of trading, which is interesting. Although you could definitely bring out the knight. And then, free improving move. We know we're going to want to push our pawn up, kick the knight maybe, gain control of this square. So it's letting us do it for free with h3. And he should go back to this diagonal because it's longer, it has more possibilities. He can even challenge our bishop. But he doesn't. He goes the other way, which is very ugly and traps his bishop. So we attack it, plus 1.4. Still playable by black, but obviously, even visually, white looks a lot better. Their position is a lot better. We just bring out the knight. Totally harmonious. You can win the bishop if you want it. And he castles long. Plus 1.8, and we're not up anything. Just beautiful position against his passive play. All of our minor pieces are super nice, right? What about his? His knight's, I mean, it's on its most natural square, but it's completely stifled. It's pure defender. This bishop is really no scope. This bishop is trapped. And this knight hasn't moved. So just somehow his minor pieces are just terrible. And he kind of made natural moves. So we just castle long and it's plus 2. Beautiful position. Can't really complain. Perfect harmony. And now our plan is to launch these pawns up the board unless he does something in the center. Then we might have to play in the center if he opens it up, or, you know, let's say. But instead he just develops. He doesn't play in the center. That gives us free reign to just go h4. He goes h6, which h5 is usually the better move because although it gives me space, it kind of stops the attack. So you're trading, okay, I defend against the attack, but then he's better in a different way, positionally. But he goes h6, which is still a hook. It doesn't close things down. So now when I kick the bishop, I can still play g5 and open things up. That's why it's plus 3.3. And he doesn't have the time to do what he wants because everything I'm doing is hitting a piece in the meantime. So he can't just ignore it. And you can't even counter because I take a piece, you take a piece. I take another piece, you take a queen. Oh, I guess that works. Okay, that you can do. So if he moves here, you just retreat your knight. And he still has all the same problems and no attack. He's still like 7 moves away from attacking your king. He would want to get these pawns here. He needs to get his queen out of the way, so he has to play c5 and then get his other rook over. And then you're like, okay, fine. But he doesn't have any of that. And I'm already at his front door knocking. So he moves the knight back, and it's plus 4.6 because he didn't want to open the position. We take the pawn because we do want to open the position on his side. He moves his knight back, but that does nothing to address the pressure and threats on g7. I think taking, although playable, is not the best. He moves his rook, and then he uses your pawn as a shield. It might still work because if you bring your knight in, now you can just maybe even checkmate him or something. So it might still work move by move, and it's obviously you're still winning if you play it, but what I'm saying is there might be better. For example, my move, threatening checkmate in 1. But they're all winning for sure. Okay, so here there's no way to defend against it. They want him to just sack the knight. That he goes for this, and it's immediately plus 10. And I'm not even up stuff, and it's plus 10 because it's essentially mate. That's why. So we take the pawn. He can't take back, and it's mate and 8. Just for kicks and giggles. Yeah, okay, so doing my move was the best. Well, it's tied for mate and 8 with rook dg1. That wasn't even a move I was going to do. Come on. So g takes f7's mate and 8, best move. That's what we did. He has to go over. Then we get a queen, best move. And he was supposed to defend against the mate and leave our queen, but he tried to attack our queen and hangs the mate instead. all zeros, but they still won't give me 100% accuracy. They refuse. 98%. Bastards. Alright, fine. At least give me 99. You know, it's like that teacher who just refuses to give the kid like the best score just because she has problems. Okay, anyway. Hopefully this showed you how to attack in an opposite side castling game in the bishop's opening. And hopefully you have some ideas now of how it works. How to pawn storm, what the setup might look like, and how a game might go. That's all that this really is. If you have any questions, write it in the comments. Submit your games in Discord. Subscribe. Good luck. Goodbye.